two games as we'll be having two at Liverpool at the Anfield Stadium, and of course another one will be seeing Borussia Dortmund looking for it to return a first leg deficit of 2-1 at the Etihad Stadium. But this time around they'll be playing at the Westfalen Stadium in Germany against Manchester City. Are we in for a potential comeback in any of these two games? We talk about this and many more. My name once again is Ayomide Animashahun. On the other side, I've got with me this afternoon Faith Adeliji. Good afternoon to you and welcome to Just Football.
Yeah, good afternoon, Ayomide. Good afternoon to our revered listeners. Another wonderful Wednesday afternoon, and you've revealed out so many things we'll be talking about whenever it's time for the Champions League, especially the knockout stages of the Champions League. We're always super pumped up, and today will not be an exception. I trust our listeners will sit back, relax, and enjoy the show with us.
That's just the way it is. Remember, it is never really easy to actually make it to this stage. I would always tell people we are breathing rarefied air as we actually talk about the quarterfinal stage of this competition. 1,001 teams actually dreamt of playing at this stage, but here we are down to the last 8, and in fact 2 of them got knocked out last night. 2 are bound to follow later tonight, and which of these 2 teams, I think until after the full time we would eventually get to know that. But hey, before we head straight to Europe, we've got some buzzing stories right here on the home scene in terms of football right here in Nigeria. We woke up to the news about the confirmation of Ahmed Musa by Kano Pillars. I mean, he signed a short-term deal with the Pyramid Boys on a 6 months or maybe less than till the end of the season. Let me put it that way. Remember, the Nigerian professional football is currently in its mid-season break, and we are hearing that when the season resumes later in a matter of a week and some days, Ahmed Musa will actually be donning the shares of Kano Pillars, who are currently joint top at the standings right there in the NPFL with the same level of point right there with Kwara United, albeit with inferior goal difference against that of their Funja Warriors. But how big is this deal? Let's start with that from the angle of how big the deal is rather, for NPFL itself, before we start talking about the club and then the player himself.
Maybe you say Ahmed Musa is the biggest player to have played in the Nigerian Professional Football League in recent times. We're not talking about a player that grew to become very big. I'm talking about a player that is already big and coming to play in the Nigerian Professional Football League. I think Ahmed Musa will come into that bracket as one of the biggest, if not the biggest, we've had in the last few years, or in fact maybe the last donkey years, as a matter of fact. So it's a very big one for the league. Maybe not so much in terms of the money generation, revenue, because of the kind of times you are right now and all that. And then the club is also not going to juice a lot out of that big deal. I've not seen the kind of unveiling I would have wanted. Maybe you see
the potential is not there.
Yeah, the potential is not there. You just have to say that. Maybe they will still do that. Of course, Musa will be a crowd puller. Unfortunately, you can't exactly have that kind of crowd in stadiums and all that right now. But Musa is a very, very big figure. We cannot take anything away from that. Currently the captain of the Super Eagles, and it's just a proper explanation of a Nigerian football player. If you look at the genesis and the way he has been able to progress his career all along.
Interestingly, I mean, we are also looking out to see how this deal would eventually turn out, because over the years we've been clamoring for possibly the return of some ex-internationals to come in and play in the NPFL, and here we have the current Super Eagles captain now playing for Kano Pillars, and of course it doesn't get bigger than this. If it turns out successful, maybe that could lay down the marker for some other players, especially the likes of John Ogu, who I think has been out of contract or even without a club in the last few months or thereabout. But let's talk about the importance of this deal, both for Kano Pillars and then for the player himself. I mean, remember, he actually started his own. I mean, he once played with Kano Pillars 2009-2010 season. He scored 18 goals, was the NPFL top scorer for that season, and interestingly, no other Kano Pillars player has ever scored as much as 18 goals in a single season in the top flight. So that means that says a whole lot about what he means, to the club. But now we are in 2021, no longer in 2009-2010. Musa back then was, I think, barely 16 or 17. Now he's 28. What really should Kano Pillars be expecting from him? And then in return, what should we really be looking out for in this kind of deal?
Well, they'll be expecting the leadership will bring, the wealth of experience, obviously. Maybe they have some big guys in the team who have been around for some time, the likes of Rabi Ali and all that. But when we're talking about the European experience, the exposure and all that, he will be bringing a different dimension to the team. Someone that has seen it all, he's been there, he's done that. And you look at someone that's played in England, played at Leicester City, he played at CSK Moscow, played in the Champions League. I mean, he played against Cristiano Ronaldo in one game, and I think he got his jersey in that game. So he's someone that has been there, has been at the highest of levels. You have to say that. So he will bring that to the game. But maybe I know reports filtering through is that I wouldn't be playing their away games. Just the home games for whatever reasons and all that. But it's understandable. But he will still bring that to the team, and then there will always be that confidence. Even if Musa will come in to play 5-10 minutes. I remember when Rashidi Yekini was also playing with Gateway. With Gateway when he after he left African Sport. After his sojourn in Europe, and then he played at African Sport, he came to Gateway. Whenever Rashidi Yekini gets onto the pitch, there's always this uproar. I don't know, maybe not a negative uproar,
even the away fans would applaud.
Even everyone would probably be on their feet, giving him a standing ovation and all that. Maybe Musa will come into that caliber. Maximum respect to Yekini. He might not come into that exact caliber, but he also fits that particular bill as well. So I think it's a big one for Kano Pillars and a big one for the player as well. We're talking about the dimension he brings for the player. He's been inactive for some time. Yeah. I remember the last international break, the whole opera, the whole noise at that point was that we're inviting someone that has been inactive into the national team as against what the coach has said. So right now we cannot say he's inactive. He's playing with Kano Pillars. So the current captain of the Super Eagles is home base.
Possibly we can also look at it from the angle of how much of increment it would actually bring to the quota of home base players that have been invited by Gonoro going forward. Or maybe not. I'm just looking at it from angle.
Musa will have his automatic spot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So maybe previously we usually have just about 3 or 4 or 2 or 3 players from the NPFL. Now with Musa, that makes it 3 or 4, right?
Yeah.
But also look at it from the angle of Kano Pillars. I mean, they haven't won the league title since 2014. Now, midway into the season, they are joined up with Kwara United, having someone like Ahmed Musa in their ranks. I mean, like you rightly said, obviously it's going to bring that level of experience, that worth of experience, and ultimately rub that off on all the players as well. Because if there's one thing I think Kano Pillars need right now, is just to lay their hands on that title for the first time in about 6 or 7 years, and imagine how important that will be for them. You know what? Let's go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll actually be heading straight to Europe to talk about football extensively on that continent rather, where we have the UEFA Champions League actions coming up later this evening. This is still Just Football on Splash FM 105.5 FM.
Àkókò ìjà tó pa bámbárì jù tá a ti ń retí ń lọ kọ́sùkọ̀ báyìí o, kì í sí ibú yẹ̀rì láàrin jù bá náà lọ. Ó mà ṣe o, ẹ̀wù bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ń kú bí ojú pì, àṣẹ àgbáwọlẹ̀ lọ́tún lọ́sí. Ó dilẹ̀ gbága yìí, ó ṣubú yàkàtà, ó fìdí rẹmi, ìjà parí o. Kò sógun mọ́ kò sọ́tẹ̀ mọ́, àlùbámí ni Bosca tún borí lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí.
Gba ìtura kíá kúrò lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀fọ́rí, ìrora àti òtútù pẹ̀lú Bosca. Bosca ń gba ẹ̀fọ́rí, ìrora àti òtútù lágbàwọlẹ̀ ní kíákíá. Bí àyípadà kò bá sí lẹ́yìn ọjọ́ mẹ́ta, lọ rí dókítà.
As the best man, I'd like to give a toast. But first, I have a few things to say. The money they are spraying the couple is reducing. It seems some people have rubbed glue under their shoes to pack it.
Clearly, he's been watching comedy nights or maybe My Siblings and I on Africa Magic Urban, DSTV channel 153. Now you too can get inspired by our local entertainment. Get a HD decoder, dish, plus 1 month DSTV compact subscription for only 18,600 Naira. Because great stories start on DSTV.
If you want confidence on a baffy Premier Kulo, it keeps you fresh on it's Premier Kulo. You go shine for body and you go fresh. If you want confidence on a baffy.
Stay chilled with Premier Cool Toilet Soap. Removes 99.9% of germs and contains real menthol extracts for that icy cool feel.
Welcome to the new world of cool side.
Imagine this was you getting started in the rap battle of your life. Then don't lose your cool. Unleash it with Mentos Fresh Action Candy. Now with vitamin C. Enjoy its incredible soothing liquid filling that gives you that freshness and cool feel in one pop.
Fresh Action Mentos Candy. Fresh Action Mentos.
Mentos Fresh Action Candy. Get cool. Feel fresh.
Good morning, my neighbors. How are you doing?
Who be down for this early momo now?
James, it is I, Johnny.
I beg, I no get money to borrow you again.
Be calming down. No need for that because I found more ways to make millions this season.
Johnny, my friend, yarn me better.
Forget though, I don't get extra package from BetKing. We be say if I chop one, it go be like say I don't chop 10.
That's right. You can max out your winnings on BetKing with boosted odds and multiple bonus.
My friend, this is where you differentiate the king from the crowd. Just visit betking.com on any device and see for yourself.
BetKing, playground for kings.
Yellow, ìkéde pàtàkì lélẹ́yìí o fún ẹ̀yin oníbàárà wa ọ̀wọ́n. Ní ìbámu pẹ̀lú àṣẹ láti NCC, iléeṣẹ́ MTN yóò máa so nọ́mbà ìdánimọ̀ yín, ìyẹn National Identification Number (NIN), pẹ̀lú àwọn àkọsílẹ̀ síìmù tẹ́ ti pèsè tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀. Kó lè rọ̀ yín lọ́rùn, ọ̀nà méjì tí ò lani láàgùn rèé o láti ṣe. Ìkíní, wọnú My MTN app lọ. Ìkejì, tẹ *785*NIN#. Tí o kò bá ní nọ́mbà ìdánimọ̀ NIN, lọ sí www.nimc.gov.ng láti ṣàwárí ojúde ìforúkọsílẹ̀ tó súnmọ́ jùlọ. Àmọ́ tó o bá ti forúkọsílẹ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n tí o kò rántí NIN rẹ, tẹ *346# pẹ̀lú nọ́mbà tó fi sílẹ̀ nígbà tó ń ṣe ìforúkọsílẹ̀. A kò fẹ́ láti já ọ kúrò lórí ìlà MTN o. Ẹ ṣeun fún sùúrù àti ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ yín èyí tí à ń retí.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Okay, you're welcome back. It is still Just Football right here. And of course, we are talking about football extensively a little bit today. We've talked about Ahmed Musa's new move right there to rejoin Kano Pillars till the end of the current NPFL season. And we wait whether there will be further extension at the end of the season, or maybe we'll actually be getting a move away from Nigeria straight to another club, another country, or maybe not. Only time will tell. But let's talk about qualification for the Olympic Games. Nigeria obviously will not be playing both in the female and male football events. But it seems that's not going to be the only setback for Africa, because Cameroon also missed out yesterday after they lost in their own qualifier playoffs rather, against Chile. Remember, they actually lost the first leg on Saturday 2-1, and yesterday it ended goalless, and that means Zambia will be Africa's only representatives right there in the women's football tournament in Tokyo, as the She Polo Polo make their debut at a global event, and it seems they will be shouldering the responsibility of the whole African continent. We wish them the best of luck. But now let's talk about UEFA Champions League. Last night, Bayern Munich were knocked out of the competition. That means Real Madrid remains the only team to still successfully defend the UEFA Champions League in recent years. That still lingers on right there as regards the weight. But this time around, Paris Saint-Germain came to the party. Neymar, man of the match, Mbappe and others were quite amazing last night.
Yeah, definitely. You cannot take anything away from PSG yesterday. In fact, I was surprised that Neymar was at the man of the match. Of course, he was wasteful, and he also did so well yesterday. But I think
it was unlucky.
It was unlucky.
A couple of efforts hit the woodwork.
Yeah, the woodwork is off target. You were not.
I know, but
you were not precise enough.
Oh,
Your
really?
accuracy, you need to work on it. That is what separates the best from the rest.
I can't afford to have you as a lecturer.
No, in all sincerity, Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, they score at an average of 50 goals a season. Okay. Not because they hit the woodwork time and time again. It's because they've practiced it over and over again, and they just find a way to hit the back of the net. It could have cost them yesterday. Had it been Bayern found a way, maybe if Leroy Sane was not a little bit too selfish, if he actually played with him, if Choupo-Moting was a little bit more later in front, they probably would have gotten the other goal, and then PSG would have ruled their misses. They had 9 chances. I'm talking about PSG yesterday, which was enough to have put the game to bed, because all they needed was a goal. A goal would have meant that Bayern Munich would have needed to score 3 goals. But then ultimately it was still a good one for them, because they got over the line, all importantly.
But let's talk about the Bavarians a bit more. Are you expecting any radical changes? Because you look at it, Lewandowski out injured, and the whole team couldn't just muster as much goals as required for them to progress. Are you expecting them to eventually, do a bit more of transfers? Because Choupo-Moting doesn't seem to be a decent replacement for the Polish striker.
I was not surprised when I woke up this morning and Erling Haaland to Bayern Munich started filtering through.
Come on.
They need to begin to look at maybe a replacement for Lewandowski on a long-term basis.
And you think Haaland will be the best option?
Of course, he's the hottest striker right now.
Who signs Haaland and keeps him on the bench? Because you can't afford to have both, except you really want to start Lewandowski and Haaland, though.
No, you wouldn't start both of them. But then you start facing Lewandowski out because injuries will begin to set in.
Lewandowski, as we speak right now, is the hottest striker in the game of football.
He's the hottest striker, but he's not available right now. He's not available. When he gets to that stage where at the very critical moment, like this quarterfinals of the Champions League, you get injured, it becomes a problem for your team, as a matter of fact. So maybe they will look at that. I wouldn't know. But for Bayern yesterday, it was very obvious. Even Serge Gnabry, who was also missing from that game, was also very obvious. Leroy Sané, Kingsley Coman, they didn't exactly provide that kind of spark you expect from the flanks from a team like Bayern Munich. So maybe they might look at all those things and say, well, we still need more as regards squad depth going forward.
Well, it seems the only headache they will actually be having in terms of making recruitment going into the summer for Bayern Munich will not just be in terms of players, because Lothar Matthäus, remember him, he's already speaking to newsmen right there in Germany, and he's saying after the knockout of Bayern Munich in the UEFA Champions League yesterday, there's a possibility that Hansi Flick, the Bavarian's head coach, could eventually be replacing Joachim Löw as the German national team head coach come the end of the Euro Championship this summer. And I wonder who would eventually turn out to be his potential replacement. In fact, Lothar Matthäus went on to also say that maybe, just maybe, they could have Julian Nagelsmann, that is their RB Leipzig head coach, as his replacement at Bayern Munich. But the Nagelsmann himself has said in his press conference that he's willing to actually see out his current contract with RB Leipzig. But away from that, now let's talk about something quite interesting. So it has to do with racism. I remember Andrzej Kudela, that's the Sparta Praga defender, or player rather, that was said to have actually racially abused a Rangers player just sometimes last month in the UEFA Europa League fixture. Well, UEFA have actually come out with a punishment for him today after they've handed him 10-match ban that will be applicable not just to club matches but also for his country, Czech Republic. That means he stands a chance of missing out in some matches later this summer. Alright, apologies, you're welcome back. It is still Just Football right here on Splash FM 105.5. Not only just Andrzej Kudela that would also be banned. In fact, the man himself, Glenn Kamara, that was racially abused in that fixture, would also miss 3 games for assaulting another player in that particular incident. So it seems this is one that will actually cut across for both players, but for different reasons. And maybe later on the course of the week, or maybe on Saturday on What's Sport, we'll talk about whether this is really befitting punishment or not. But tonight, 5th, it is Liverpool at the Anfield Stadium against Real Madrid, looking for ways to overturn a 1-3 forced-leg deficit against Los Blancos. Team news: Curtis Jones could make a return for the cup, but then they are still without Virgil van Dijk, Joe Gomez, Joe Matip, who are also out due to long-term injury, and that means Liverpool could eventually still go out with a pairing of Ozil Kabak and Nat Phillips in the centre defence. How confident are you in Liverpool possibly rewriting just another night of comeback in the UEFA Champions League?
Well, I'm not entirely confident, but I'm not entirely ruling them out as well. We've seen them do it before against FC Barcelona, another Spanish team. So they will look at the Spaniards and say that, well, we can do this over again. And we've done it before, and then it's very possible. Moreover, it is Anfield that we will be playing at Anfield, and we've done it before. But then
Anfield without the fans.
The kind of that is something. And they will also be without the man Origi that also did it the last time out and all that. But you look at this Real Madrid. This is a Real Madrid brimming with confidence right now. You remember what they did at the El Clasico. Remember how they handled Liverpool in the first leg as well. So it's looking like the European giants will also come up top. They might not win the game. I'm not saying Real Madrid will win the game. I'm not saying but I feel they would get the necessary results to qualify. Maybe a draw or maybe a slim Liverpool lead. But one thing is for Madrid fans, they should expect a kind of onslaught from Liverpool. And if Liverpool should get that early goal in that particular game, that would definitely spur them on to try to get something out of that game. And for the neutrals like us, I think that is what we want, because that game will become one on the edge, and definitely it will provide fireworks.
So in a nutshell, I think you're pretty much saying the first goal is very important, and the timing of it is just as important as it is, right?
Yeah, like Porto, they got the first goal too late last night. So the timing is very important. important for Liverpool.
Narrow escape for Chelsea there, but all being said, they are through to the semi-finals for the first time, I think, since 2014. Quite interesting. And the script is quite similar to how it was written when they eventually went on to lift the UEFA Champions League back in 2012. They sacked their manager midway into the season. The new manager took over the team, and then boom, they went up against Bayern Munich at the Allianz Arena.
Yeah, in the finals.
The title. Thumbs up to DJ Drogba way back there. But then a bit of fact ahead of the game involving Liverpool and Real Madrid tonight. We'll be saying this fact is quite interesting. After winning their first 3 meetings with Real Madrid in the European competition, Liverpool have lost each of their last 4 against the Spanish giants. Against North side, they lost more. They've also lost 4 against Benfica. Will they make it 5 defeat against Real Madrid later tonight, or they will just do what it takes for them to eventually progress? We'll wait to find out. Another fixture will be saying Borussia Dortmund at the Westfalenstadion Stadium in Germany hosting Manchester City. But before we talk about that, let us link up with BBC for the Premier League update for a bit of preview on this fixture and maybe a little bit more of preview on the game involving Liverpool and Real Madrid.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
Hello, I'm Adi Adedoyin at the BBC Sports Centre. Manchester City and Liverpool will be looking to join Chelsea in the last 4 of this season's European Champions League. Chelsea progressed on aggregate despite losing 1-0 on the night to Porto, and it would be an all-English Premier League semi-final against Liverpool if Jurgen Klopp's side can turn around the 3-1 deficit against the Spanish giants Real Madrid at Anfield. The Liverpool left-back, Andy Robertson, is confident they can do it.
It needs to be a close to perfect game. We've done it in the past, but we can't rely on that. We need to try and create our own atmosphere tomorrow night. Of course, we've not got our fans in there with us, and it's up to us to create our own atmosphere and create, a Champions League night at Anfield without the fans.
Manchester City have a 2-1 lead going into the return leg of their tie against the German side Borussia Dortmund. City have never been past this stage of a competition under Pep Guardiola, but midfielder Ilkay Gundogan says the defence can be the difference this time.
I feel like we are much more stable at the moment in this season, especially defensively. And I think the more you proceed in this competition, the more important it gets as well. It gives you also kind of a safe feeling, when you know that your defensive line is working great, your goalkeeper is great, you're generally working as a team defensively very well. Combined with the feeling that we know that we are always able to score, that's a great potential.
Okay, apologies, we'll not be able to actually complete that BBC Premier League update. But hey, you heard the voice of one Manchester City player pretty much saying that their defense has to be very, very top-notch tonight against Borussia Dortmund. But they can also just take a bit of inspiration from the fact that Haaland hasn't scored in his last 6 games for club and country. Do you think this could come down to Haaland's performance tonight or not? Faith, quickly.
Yeah, obviously. But we look at that. Should that be an inspiration or something they should be worried about? Because world-class players like that, they are more lethal when they don't score in their previous game, and knowing fully well that Dortmund need just a goal to qualify, a 1-0 win, and then they probably will just qualify in that particular encounter.
The bigger question is, can Dortmund avoid conceding against Man City? 8 p.m. kickoff time is that fixture. Simultaneously, the kickoff time for the game involving Liverpool and Real Madrid. Unfortunately, this is going to be the end point of today's edition of Just Football. Join us again later next Wednesday for another fantastic edition. But you know what? Tomorrow morning, 7:30. Sports Bank will all be yours at 7:30 in the morning. You surely don't want to miss a bit of review on what will eventually transpire tonight in the UEFA Champions League. Big thanks to you, Faith, for being a part of the show today.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Yeah.
And bigger thanks to you on the other side for joining us for this edition. My name is Ayomide Animashahun. Wish you all a fantastic Wednesday evening. I'm out of here.
Splash FM 105.5.